Welcome to r/Bestof Redditor updates, where OP discovers that his dad has been scamming the entire family. Our next Reddit post comes from r/Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for not telling my parents that I received money from my college? I'm a 20-year-old non-binary who lives with my parents and my two sisters, ages 20 and 19. For as long as I can remember, my parents have had financial difficulties. For the past 4 months, I've paid the entirety of my parents' rent. While I don't really make that much, I work 50 hours a week most weeks due to understaffing, so I get a pretty good-sized paycheck. Plus, most of the time, I'm able to set aside some money for saving. However, these past months, every one of my dad's paychecks, he makes the most money out of all of us, have been garnished or been completely gone before they ever get to him. I have the misfortune of getting paid the exact same days that he does. So the majority of my paychecks and all my savings have gone to paying for bills. 2 weeks ago, my dad didn't get his paycheck, and I ended up overdrawing my bank account by $1,000. It was an accident, as I'd forgotten about a payment that I'd made that had yet to show up. So when I got my paycheck on Friday, I just had $100, which my dad immediately asked for 80 of. I told my parents that I would be unable to help financially for the next 2 weeks. And again, my dad got his paycheck garnished, so my parents are scrambling to get money together to avoid our utilities being cut off. My college does this thing where you pay the full amount of your tuition, and then, at the end of the semester, you get the amount that scholarships and financial aid paid to you. There's a deadline to pick up this money, however, they hold it for you if you forget. And for the past 2 years that I've been going there, I forgot to do that, so that money's just been sitting around. Well, on Friday, I received an email from my college saying that I would receive the money. Considering it'd been sitting there for 2 years, it was a fair amount. I'm by no means rich or anything, but it was certainly more than I'd been expecting. I paid a bill that I just hadn't been able to, and the majority of the money is just sitting in my bank account. It's been 2 days, and I haven't mentioned anything about the money. My parents never even knew that I was getting money from my college due to my forgetfulness. I know that this money could help make sure that none of our utilities are cut off, but I can't seem to bring myself to tell my parents. I'm moving out soon, so this money could go towards giving me some breathing room, or go to my classes this summer, so I really want to save it and not say anything, and just let my parents assume that I only have $20 to my name. However, if the utilities get cut off, then I'll be affected as well. Down in the comments, people are asking about the garnishment, and OP says, "My parents have a lot of payday loans from my childhood, other loans, and they owe money to the state and the IRS. My dad had, at one point, been accused of a gambling addiction. However, my parents have talked this out. My dad's company also has terrible communication, so we have no way of knowing when he's getting garnished and when he gets paid. Everyone does work, but me and my dad make the most money. My mom works a minimum wage job. My sisters work part-time minimum wage jobs. My mom and 20-year-old sister do help pay bills, but my little sister, however, does not. She's the type who gets a little bit of money and goes wild." Then, 13 days later, OP posted an update. The title of this one is, "Will I be the butthole for going no contact with my dad and technically being responsible for my parents' divorce? I'm moving out next month." So my dad decided to play a joke on me. He took my card and withdrew 90% of the money in my bank account. He then put my card back in its original position and went to work. He did all this around midnight. So I woke up that morning to most of my money being gone. My first thought was that my dad took my card without asking, but my card was still in my wallet and where I left it. I thought that someone had cloned my card and guessed my PIN. I sent off a quick text to my mom and I called my bank. I spent a while doing that. I was so anxious I was practically sobbing, and I'm not a person who really cries. That money was my deposit and rent for June. I then went to the living room and heard my mom arguing. I couldn't hear much, but I heard my mom exclaim, "What made you think this was a good idea?" Instantly, dread filled me. I walked up to my parents' room. My mom was arguing with my dad on the phone. According to my dad, he found our cat playing with my card. Yeah, right. He decided to take my card and remove my money to teach me a lesson about leaving my card lying around and then go to work. My dad apologized to me, and I just handed the phone back to my mom and stormed out of the room. My dad had pulled something like this before, except he took all my money and then lost it. My dad claimed that he took the money to teach me a lesson for leaving my card around, but later on he told me in private that he really took my money because he knew that I was lying about how much money I had. Anyways, there are clear flaws in the story he told us. I had my card, and it was in my wallet exactly where I left it. My mom said that we should drive to Dad's work to pick up the money. We don't trust him to keep the money until he's done working, due to what happened last time. He protested, saying that would use too much gas, and that he would drive down instead, as that would use the same amount of gas. This ultimately led to my mom practically having confirmation that he's already started gambling again. Because in her mind, why else would he be so adamant that we not go to his workplace? He came home and returned all the money to me. Yes, I counted it over. He apologized and I said nothing. My mom said that he didn't sound sincere. My dad blew up on her, saying that he had apologized over the phone and that he was obviously sorry about what happened. He later on apologized to me about that, but I ignored it and he doesn't seem to be talking to my mom. My mom's told me that she's going to talk to a lawyer, and she's absolutely torn up about this. There have been so many issues with their relationship this past year, but this seemed to be the last straw that broke the camel's back to leave her 40-year marriage to my dad. My sisters don't know what's going on. I told my mom that once I move out, I might go no contact with them. My mom got all sad and said that she doesn't blame me for wanting to after everything my dad put me through. Then, 2 weeks later, OP posted an update. My parents are getting a divorce. I have mixed feelings about this. My mom started tracking my dad. Multiple times, the tracker has put him in a casino when he claims that he's working. My mom figured out that he's actually been getting his paycheck 2 days early and not telling anyone. Wait, does that mean that the garnishment was actually him losing money at the casino? My mom called a lawyer last Wednesday to talk about her next move. My dad isn't even fighting it, which is honestly destroying my mom. Yesterday, we got an eviction notice that we have to be out by the end of the month. This has happened before, but my dad's always explained it away. Apparently, we haven't actually paid the rent in 4 months. My dad never said anything about this. He now knows that we see through him and his act. My mom and younger sister are going to live with my maternal grandparents. Me and my other sister are moving out on our own apartment at the end of the week. This makes me extremely angry because I gave my parents the rent money, which was actually going to my dad's gambling. I did a calculation for how much money I gave my dad this year, and I was horrified to find that it was over $10,000. All my savings for college, so many of my paychecks that I've given up to help my family have actually gone to my dad's gambling addiction. I feel so used and like a fool. I feel so betrayed. My mom told me that she doesn't want me to go no contact with my dad. She wants to hold family dinners once everything is settled down and she has a place, and she's going to invite my dad. My mom still loves my dad and keeps saying that he's sick. I know this. I know that he isn't well, that he's lost control, but I don't know if I can keep him in my life. He used and manipulated me. I feel less like his child and more like his walking bank account. He broke our family, and even if he did do it because he's sick, I don't know if I can get past it. I know you guys said that I'm not the butthole in my last post, but I still feel like one. Then, 20 days later, OP posted an update. I live in my own apartment with my sister and a roommate, a 19-year-old guy. Due to recent events, me and my sister are the only ones in my family not homeless. My dad's been living in his car and staying in hotels when able. My dad has also recently been hospitalized for a multitude of reasons that I won't go into detail. He's going to be released soon, and he can't follow some of the medical advice due to him being homeless. My mom has asked me to talk to my roommates to see how they feel about my dad living with us temporarily. I agreed to talk to them, but honestly, I don't want to have him here. This might be selfish, but he would be in my room due to the fact that he works night. He won't stay in my sister's room because her room is hyper feminine and is only separated by a curtain from the living room. Since I'm the only one with an actual room, he'd be sleeping in my room. My dad has also not acknowledged that he's done anything wrong. I'm also still pissed at him. He can't live with my mom and sister because my maternal grandparents hate his guts. He can't talk to the rest of his family because they're abusive and he doesn't want to admit how bad the situation has gotten. So that just leaves me and my sister. My dad already doesn't like our roommate due to sexism and toxic masculinity. I don't think he'll act any way that'll show it, but I really don't want to place him in a situation where he might have to deal with that. Then, 3 months later, OP posted an update. And to be honest, it's kind of long and pointless, except it does mention that OP's been no contact since his last post. So thankfully, he didn't let his dad move in with him. If he had, then I have a sneaking suspicion that things around the apartment would have started to go mysteriously missing all of a sudden. Also, down in the comments, people are speculating that the injuries the dad suffered and the reason why OP isn't talking about it is because dad got his ass beat by loan sharks for not paying back his money. Our next Reddit post comes from rSlash. I found out that my sister slept with my fiance, and I am not sorry about what I did after. 30-year-old woman here. I have a sister who's just a year older than me. We've always had such a good relationship, so finding out about this one hurt. She might as well have just stabbed me in the heart. On top of that, I've been with my fiance since high school, and we've already been with each other through thick and thin. We were getting married in a few months. I have no idea why on earth they did this to me. What's even worse was that our mom knew, and out of fear of getting involved, my sister apparently begged her not to say a word. She didn't tell me anything. Thankfully, my dad wasn't having it and he spilled the beans to me. I've never been so angry in my life. Not only did I kick out my fiance and throw out his stuff, some of it in the trash, but I decided to hurt my sister in another way. So why didn't I seek revenge against my fiance? Simple. This is my sister. We've always had a good relationship until she decided to ruin it months before my big day, which I allowed her to be a bridesmaid in. You don't do that to anyone, let alone your sister, your blood. My sister is big on gardening, so when she lost her dog, she made a garden for him. I knocked on her door, back when she didn't know that I knew about the cheating, and of course I played nice. I moved on to what she did with my fiance, and I slightly damaged her garden. Honestly, I just crushed a couple of flowers. Am I sorry? No. Her excuse for the cheating sent me over the edge. It just happened is not a reason. Sleeping with my fiance just happened, I guess. I told her that I didn't want her speaking to me anymore, and that I also didn't want our mom to speak to me. My fiance won't say a word, since I threatened to call the cops if he ever went near me again. Yeah, I made my sister cry and scream at me, but I genuinely feel like I should be the one crying. She knew how important getting married was to me, and now I can't experience that. Pair that with the fact that I had to hear about this from my dad, not my bum excuse of a sister or fiance. Hell, even my own mother didn't say a word to me. It's like she let my sister run her. F you, Tia. F you, Logan. If they ever see this, I'd be absolutely delighted. Then, one day later, OP posted an update. To start off, I did expose my sister and my ex online. I unblocked both of them to tag them. Shout out to one of the commenters who wrote down what I should say. My ex actually blocked me after he saw that story. I sent my Reddit post to my sister after. Also, I got a call from my ex's mom. She was furious about everything, but she asked me how I was holding up and if I've heard the news. My heart sank a little because I honestly couldn't bear to hear any more bad news. I asked her what had happened, and she said, "So you haven't?" And I said no, and I asked her to tell me. My sister is pregnant. Apparently, my ex told his mom about the pregnancy in an attempt to make her chill out on my sister. I didn't want to hear anymore, so I told her I had to hang up the phone. Thankfully, she accepted because I literally burst into tears 2 seconds later. After 5 minutes of crying, my sister responded to my story and text with the Reddit post link. She was texting me in all caps, begging me to take it down. If I wasn't so upset, I would have laughed a little, but I just sat there watching her blow up my phone. I got even angrier when she said, "I'm coming over and I'm telling mom that you're spreading my business online." All right, you big baby. Still, I never responded. I felt kinda frozen. 30 minutes later, she's trying to break my door down, so I opened it in a fit of rage and started screaming all kinds of stuff at her. She kept screaming at me to take it down, and I told her that's gonna stay up for as long as I want it to. She kept telling me that she didn't deserve online hate, and she even tried telling me that she's always been there for me through everything, and that she would have forgiven me if it was the other way around. That's when I punched her. A small part of me felt guilty, but she retaliated by saying, "It's not my fault Logan was tired of you." And that's when I told her that I hope she ends up like her dog, and that she deserves every bit of hate she's getting for ruining my relationship. I even apologized for not ruining her entire garden and her stupid face at first. I know that I'm wrong for saying this, but the entire time she was playing the victim. She called me evil and told me to rot in hell. She kept saying that I was punishing her over a mistake. I said, "You have no idea what you put me through, and I know that you would have done the same thing if you were the victim." She kept crying and insulting me because all I've ever done is support you through everything, and you had the nerve to punch me in the face and allow strangers to bash me on the internet. I told her she deserved it, and I don't want her talking to me ever again. And if she comes near me, I'm calling the cops. She kept saying I was being extremely unfair, and that she said that she was sorry in her texts, but I wasn't having it. I told her to tell Mom that I'm not talking to her again either. She asked me if I was really going to cut her off like that, and I just wished her good luck with her unwanted child and told her to go home. That was the last time that she walked off my porch. Anyway, I had to clean up my favorite vase, but it doesn't matter. At least they're out of my life. However, it's weird how sad I feel now. It's for my own good, but I'll never experience the bond we had again. On the bright side, seems like I've dodged 2 bullets. Then, one day later, OP posted an update. I've officially decided to go low contact with my dad today. Surprisingly, he wasn't that upset about it. However, he's still on the team of take down the posts, and that's why I made my decision. My mom wants nothing to do with me because if you're not going to respect the family, there's no point in trying to get to you. Wow, it's almost like that's what I wanted anyways. Apparently, my sister has had meltdown after meltdown because more people are slowly finding out about the affair, not only in person, but on the internet. She actually got into it with my cousin online, and according to my cousin, my sister keeps asking her to tell me to take down the post because she's sorry and she felt pressured into doing what she did. Lastly, I also heard about my ex from his sister. She told me that they spoke, and although he's not ready for a child, he doesn't feel comfortable leaving my pregnant sister on her own. He also wants me to stop what I'm doing, but oh well, they're made for each other. Well, OP, good news for your sister, because the posts aren't only on Reddit now, they're also on YouTube. That was r/Best of Redditor updates, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.